You know, is in prison is like you are a slave. You don't even know the next apart from waking up, kunywa uji, unafunguliwa, it's like a robot.
Barabara ile kidogo ulikuwa na askari, yes. Lakini sio kwa basi unajisikia uko safe. Kama ni hata ni leo. Ungekaa hiyo kwa nyumba miezi. Kufika mnakuta watu wanatembea mikono ikiwa juu na umeshika kipande.
David Kisilu and Elizabeth Kanini were only 5 weeks shy of their wedding when the man she was engaged to was locked up for an attempted coup in 1982. The wedding was meant to take place on the 4th of September the same year, and for 10 years, she waited for her man to return. Today, she and her husband are happy and have 2 sons together. She says she's happy she waited. However, she and her husband are currently struggling with diseases and conditions they're trying to seek treatment for, but unfortunately, they do not have funds for it, and they're here to plead with us for support to raise this money for treatment. Welcome to today's episode of My Story. My name is Yvonne Kawira, and this is their story.
I am David Kisilu Mutwa. I come from Chawango, Mwala. That's Mwala sub-county. That's where I was born and brought up. But currently we live in El Kalakala, East.
Introduce us to your lovely wife also.
Now this is my wife Elizabeth Kanini. Should we say, I first saw her at a cousin's wedding, who was also getting married to my own cousin.
Oh wow!
But we never knew the link between. So I saw her there. That was 1979. Was it October? October.
You keep the dates.
We'll later show you how she looked like. There's a photograph. A very slim lady, like.
What is it about her that's true?
So, well, she's pretty. And then, she was very elusive. And she disappeared. She disappeared for about not really long, because the following year, in February, I went to UK for a course. We were later to meet in November 1980. Now again, was it at one of my colleagues in the Air Force also happened. Now she happened to be working with the wife of my colleague, and there was a birthday for one of their children. There she was
again,
and she was not like to escape. Till today.
What did you do to make sure she's not going anywhere?
No, she knows. She can tell you. Yeah, so the relation started, and one thing for everything was in place, and again, I went for a detachment. That was in March 1981 to Wajir. But we kept on communicating because it's supposed to be a 6 months detachment, but once in a time you can steal your way back to the station. So we kept communicating, and then everything was in place. And
at this point, you were planning for your wedding.
I had proposed to her, and well, it was positive, and it was around January, February 1982 is now when we decided to meet the father. And the father was a gentleman.
Wow.
Unfortunately, he's late. He said, then he told me, there's nothing.
Go ahead.
He could talk with me. So that meant that in Kamba custom, you've got to go now to bring the parents now. And that's what I did. everything was arranged. Then the traditional things that the tradition started, and then I paid the dowry around I think late June or early July. Yeah.
Okay.
And then we were officially allowed now to live together, because it was not safe where she was living. She could not live alone. So we started living together. By that time, we were living together. The wedding was to be the first week of September.
So 2 months.
That's it was about as 5 weeks, not 3 weeks as the nation has written. So now there comes the August fast then. Disrupted everything. Yes.
Yes, sure, with the women. Umezoea kuamka asubuhi, you are young, uko na mambo zako za you want to do cleaning. Hata una usingizi. Si utaamka tu uanze kufanya hiyo mambo zako kwa nyumba. So the first thing I'm thinking of ni kwenda ninunue nini, nianze kutengeza breakfast. There was a kiosk just outside there. Nikaenda nikanunua, nyakati hizo hatukuwa tunaweka vitu kama kwa manyumba, because maziwa ilikuwa kwa inakuja very early in the morning. So utaendea hiyo maziwa, because hii ingine ukinunua kama ni ile ya sasa ya leo na utaitumia kesho, you must boil it.
Yeah.
So tulikuwa tunajua utaendea asubuhi na everything was available, watu wanafungua mapema. So I went, and then nikienda nimeakisha radio. Those were the days za radio. Hakukuwa na TV were there but for a few. A few people. Haya, mimi nikaenda nikaleta tu maziwa, ni just like here kwa hii nyumba. Haya, nikaenda nikaleta maziwa. Kurudi kufungua mlango, siku sababu chini hapo tu hata sifungi ati na kifuli, kurudisha mlango. Na nasikia something na mambo is announcing something, ati serikali imepinduliwa. Then I'm like, kwanza nikasimama nikasikia tena, and then wanaimba tu nyimbo. So I sat down, nikaacha mambo ya breakfast. Sasa wakaimba tu nyimbo twao, wakatangaza tena. Nikasikia hapana, hii sijawahi sikia. I went and woke him up. Akaniambia ninamsumbua, si kwa sababu amechoka yake yote.
Before then, she told me that there were gunshots. Before she put on the radio on, there were gunshots along outer.
Ungesikia
nikamwambia hiyo ni waizi nini Robert. There was a white police service who was really killing thugs. Hiyo wachana hiyo ni show na nini na kuzana wezi. Yeah.
Wow. Kwa sababu tulikuwa tumemzoea show every time nasikia. Baada julikana mkisikia tuko along the barabara si askari. The show is chasing thieves because he was a very tough guy. So mimi nilikuwa nimemwambia you didn't bother. Sasa nilipokuja kumwambia hiyo, nikamwambia hapana, sio vile ulikuwa unaniambia. There's something different. Kama sasa ni kama unamsikia tu kwa blanketi, kuna kama adasikia unamsumbua. So sijui nilibemana na hiyo radio, mama nilimvuta, I don't know what I did, but he had to come and listen. Kusikia hiyo akaniambia sasa he has to go back to the camp. When things like those happen, every askari has to go back to the camp. Kamwambia yakunywa breakfast basi uende. Mimi najua sasa sijawahi sikia serikali ikipindua, sijui hiyo ni nini. So hata si kushughulika mimi. Nilifikiri tu ni kitu itaenda isuluhishe. Then you come back the way tu enda kazi na anarudi ama anaenda. Sasa sema wakati unalikuwa kwa uelewa. Haya. Nika just remained in the house. Hata si kufikiria ni kitu gani kinaendelea. Hata kama ninasikia tu shots, sioni kama kuna any danger. Lakini in the afternoon ndio nilikuja sasa. Unajua sasa mmeshaosha manyumba, mmeosha nguo ni ngapi? Si ni nguo tu 2-3. Sasa kwanza ukiwa tu hapo kwa nyumba, nyakatizo tu kwa tukiweka madirisha hizi vitu hizi. Kama hizi nazitanga net zimu nazitanga net. Curtain tunaweka. Hii shears hizi tu tunaziita sijui nini. Sasa unakuta tu unaona through. I started seeing askaris wanafanana, wamevaa uniform, looking like they are scared. Unaangalia huyo mtu, wengine wako na vumbi. Nikaanza kufia kwanza. This thing was serious. Kwa sababu already huyu alipotoka tu after somewhere time kidogo wakaanza kusema imefanya nini? The same Leonard Mambo Tela akaanza kuannounce kwamba serikali imerudishwa kami mikono ya nani? Ya Moi something. So when we heard that, tuliona mambo imekuwa mzuri. We didn't know other things were just happening behind there.
Is that the point? Did you ever come back home?
No.
That was it. That was the last time.
That was the last. Now, believe me not. Hata haikunisumbua. Nililala tu kama kawaida bila tu kwa nyumba peke yangu. Wakati hayuko. Mimi nikalala kwa sababu bado haijakaa into me that there's a problem somewhere. Now you are not being told anything kwa radio tena sasa. According to government mambo imerudi, lakini pale nje. Unajua sasa naye wa umoja. Umoja si unajua that time it was outskirts kabisa. Kule sasa hamuna information. Hakuna mtu kwa sababu tena is sana Sunday. Hakuna mtu anatoka wapi awaambie nini. Isipokuwa saa askari tumeanza kuona ni kama atujui kama they were living also in that umoja because umoja was big and they are trying to go back to their homes, ama ni mtu ameona kumeharibika atie tu kwa hizo estate aende kwenye anaenda because after umoja there was nothing else. What was the after umoja was done home. Kina kazi wale ziko wote. So me I didn't know where those askaris were going kwa sababu ungeona mmoja, mimi sikumbuki nikiona wawili. Naona tu moja tu peke yake. Haya, siku ikakuja, nikalala, simuoni. Asubuhi yake mimi nikaenda kwa bafu, nikaoga kama kawaida. But nikiwa nina dress, nikaona mtu akitoka unajua njia ya kwenda Kangundo Road. There's a petrol station. Nikaona ni kama nimeona mtu na ni kama ni mjomba yake. By the time afike kwa mlango na mimi niko kwa mlango, nikafungua kuingia kwa nyumba. Niuliza tu fulani yuko wapi, nikamwambia sijui. Kaniangalia, ongea kile aliongea na kaenda. Mimi nikacheka na nikarudi nikavaa tu nikaenda kazi. Na sio mimi peke yangu, everybody around was going to work as usual. Tulipofika bus station, kwa sababu sisi tunatumia mabasi, ndio tulijua kuna mambo. Barabara ile kidogo ilikuwa na askari, yes. Lakini sio kwa basi unajisikia uko safe. Kama ni hata ni leo, ungekaa hiyo kwa nyumba miezi. Kufika mnakuta watu wanatembea mikono ikiwa juu na umeshika kipande. Ukikanyaka tu chini mikono juu, shika kipande. Sasa unashuka tu already ukiwa tayari. Unaanza kutembea. Ukienda ile direction unaenda na kuna askari everywhere. Unajua kuna site nachukia kama ya askari. Sasa hizo ni ma-JCU. Mahepia kwa wengi kama leo. JCU unajua tulikuwa tukijua ni wabaya. So if you see those sites na those mafias na zile sura zao za kutisha hapo, very serious guys. Sasa nikaanza kuona hapa kuna shida. Hata sikumbuki ule wangu wenye yako, naona sasa hapa nitarudi nyumbani. So we walked, tumetoka unaenda towards development house. Nini hiyo njia kwenda Jogoo sasa. On the way somewhere I met with, nika spot kijana tulisoma naye pia ni wa JC, alikuwa ni JCU. Na unajua zamani tulikuwa tunajuana kile karibu kama mnajuana kishule. Kwa kama tulikuwa tunajua where you are. Akaniita Alena akaniambia, "Weka hiyo mikono chini." Hata nikacheka. Nikakaribia tukaongea. Akaniambia, "Haya wewe enda." Nikamwambia, "What is not happening?" Kuna kitu unajua askari ni askari. Hakuna kitu aliniambia. Akaniambia, "Enda na usiweke hizo mikono juu tena." So I went, akaniambia, "Utakuwa kama hii ni njia yako utakuwa unanipata."
Oh, nice. Hivi the one when you heard from him, what was your reaction? Was it assuring also? How long was it before you heard from him, and how did that make you feel?
You know, with me, ni mtu mmoja sina uoga. Na si from day one, si kufikiria ya kwamba hata ameenda popote. Hata kama sikuwa nikijua penye yako. Something in me was telling me, anakuja. Pia alikuwa anakuja kila siku. Atakuja kwa nipate kwa nyumba ama nipate kwa ofisi. Si kuona kama things were that serious.
To that one, yeah.
So, hiyo kitu haikunipiga sana that time. Na that is me. Wasishtuliwa na kitu saa hiyo. But kumbe waina hiyo impact itakuja baadaye. Mimi hata naweza kama there is a time I lost a relative, mtoto wa my auntie, na alikuwa anakaa kwa mamangu. And I went home, nikakuta mamangu na wamama. Akaniuliza ni mbona umekuja siku ya kazi? Nikamwambia hakuna shida. Then I went to the house. When I gave her the report that evening, because nilikuwa na jiwaza nitaanzaje. Hata neighbors wakati walisikia walisema huyu msichana wako ni mgumu sana. I mean, just come with such an information. Nilipomwona si kwanza kulia. Mimi vitu hazinipigangi hivyo. Hivyo hata yake iko nipiga. Lakini baadaye sasa labda ndio itakuja kuanza kutokea sasa huyu una vitu zimeanza kutokea kwa mwili yangu sasa. So mimi I expected him more the days. Every time haikunisumbua, believe it me or not.
Wow.
Haikunisumbua hata siku moja hivi niwaze ati nini until the time hiyo barua ilinifikia. Nikajua hata kama hii imekuja, mimi kwanza nilijiona kama bibi yake. Kwa sababu huko mlikuwa mmepanga vitu vinaitwa harusi. Before that harusi kumeenda ile tradition sasa already mpaka nyakati zetu au ungeenda kuishi na mwanaume kama uko na adabu zako. Ukakae na mwanaume bila wazazi kujua. Unafanya nini kwa hiyo nyumba ya mwanaume? Na hata kama babangu angenipa hiyo ruhusa, hivyo hata niliona ajabu. Kutuambia ati kama sasa mnaweza kuishi pamoja. Singeishi na yeye, nitaishi na yeye kama nani. Hata kama amenichumbia. Angoje mpaka. Siku ile tutaenda tufunge ndoa. Hata hii ni ndoa ndio. Na ndio hata more organizing custom, African custom. Lakini singeenda kuishi na yeye. Lakini vile nilikuwa nikasema after all niko na nyumba. We don't need to look for another one. Tutaishi tukingojea nini ile siku. So
after alikwambia ni 20 years ukaamua aje?
Nilikuwa nimeshaona already. Si walikuwa inawekwa kwa gazeti. That's something I was aware of. So si yeye aliniambia, nilikuwa najua ni 20 years. Sasa watu colleagues in the office were asking me, "Ati utangoja hizi siku zote?" Mimi hata nikijisikia kukujibu nitakujibu, na sitakujibu kitu mzuri sana.
How did this make you feel as a person knowing you're leaving your young bride to be? There's a wedding that's not going to happen. How did this affect you as you were going away?
You are demoralized. At 29 is not young when you are not married. Now here is a threat of 20 years. Here is a young girl under 23 years. She was under 23 years. Do I waste her life?
It's a dilemma.
Yeah. So after imprisonment, we stayed for some time at industrial area, that's remand. I think for about from 28 September up to the early morning of 21st October is when we were transported to Kodiak. Kodiak police station, I mean prison that is in Kisumu. We were being treated like very dangerous people. We were escorted, like the worst criminals in this country. Unwanted. Can you imagine? This knee was injured by the intelligence, by the investigators. We were packed in a prison lorry. Over 40 people. We could not get seats. I was one of the people that we were handcuffed too. We were handcuffed. I could not get a seat. So, can you imagine it was so packed, being transported from industrial area up to Kisumu standing.
What?
When we arrived at the Kodiak, tarumbeta kapigwa, and they were all alert. I don't know what they were expecting us. The public knew that we were very dangerous people. So the bugler was there with tarumbeta, and we found the prison warders lady with rungus, and there were others with guns. At the end of the day, it takes clearing from one police, with all records, it took probably about 2 hours to be cleared and be allocated cells. And again, they did one of the most, I don't know why they did that. They took the clothes that we were wearing, now prison uniform, and they claimed that this uniform belonged to industrial area. And we were given rags. The clothes that the prisoners had used, and then changed. Walienda kutolewa kwa store, and then we were given, they were unwashed. So we just declined and we stayed naked. Personally, I could not wear that. So there comes because the officer in charge was not in that time. The second in command came and said, mnataka kutuletea sasa ile ujuaji wa yafo sasa, hata mlikuwa mnataka kupindua serikali. Sisi ndio mwisho wa dunia.
That's what they accused you of that time when they were.
No, we have been imprisoned, Now, everybody was hostile. And then we said, yes, look at this. And then he looks at it. Nani aliwapatia hii? He wasn't aware. But again, there were no clothes.
So you had to stay.
There were no new clothes. Asema, now mpaka itafutwe sijui Kakamega na nini, hatuna uniform. So tukamwambia na mimi akasema, there were about 45, asema, hii hatufai. And Kisumu is very hot. We were sweating. So the following day, we said if we could wash, because hakuna maji. Kisumu is one of the worst places. So they took us to a trench inside the prison. Imewekewa maji, imeingizwa hapo, just diverted from a river. And that's where everybody washes. We used to wash. So hii matandiko hii we washed. Lakini again we also never needed the shoot. Ukiangalia imetandika, so for about a few days we stayed naked. Because there was nothing to wear. So ndio tukapatiwa manguo.
Wakati huu bado una communicate na wife, ulipata nafasi?
It was not possible.
Wow.
Even the warders and the officers were selected I think they were just selected who would keep guarding us. We were really, everyone thought we were dangerous. So another team came, and then they saw that we could not fit in that cell. So they took us to another bigger cell that was meant to be for remands, and they moved them to another block. Oh, I will never forget the video that we stayed there. The place was full of rice, bed bugs. You could not sleep.
And that's where your life was for
Today
10 years.
Skin disease bado yaisha.
And for 10 years you stayed there? Ama you were moved around?
So then we complained and still they kept on bringing more of us. So again, we could not fit, so we were taken to another block. So there where I met an askari. And then we talked, and we have to be guarded, and I would like to communicate with my people. They don't know whether they are alive or yes. So he appeared like he was not listening, and they used to change. So one time he came, and we were basking outside. Wewe chukua hiyo kusafisha huko. So kufika huko kanambia chukua hii karatasi, ingia huko na andike barua immediately.
Wow.
So I scribbled having a whole page, and then uyamaliza.
Do you remember the things you told?
Yeah, uyamaliza kumaliza wewe mvivu namna gani? So akachukua akaniambia okay, chukua hiyo vitu urudishe huko, and then that's how I communicated. I in the address there.
Okay, the way you're staying at that point?
No, I mean the postal address.
The letter should be
and
delivered.
She wrote a letter. She wrote back and she told me how she was.
What were some of the things you told her, if you don't mind sharing? Maybe your...
No, I really did not want to touch about... I don't want to really... I left it hanging. I just... Niko hivi, this is what it is.
Sawa.
And I'm very sure you know this is ABC. And I really wanted to judge her mind. I really wanted to know what her response was. She will tell you.
I can't wait to hear.
She told me that she will be there. Even if I stayed 20 years, she was going to wait.
Wow.
And I never expected that. Surely I never expected that.
Wow.
Yes.
So you, from your letter, you were kind of letting her go.
Yeah.
That sija kufunga, you're free to...
No, I did not really write that. But I just wanted to know...
Where do you stand?
Yes. Because I just told her that really 20 years is a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah. And from the look of things, it looks like we were going to serve the sentence that we were meant, we were going to serve the sentence of 20 years. And especially after the sentence around January 1983 was confirmed.
That indeed it's 20 years.
Yes, it was confirmed by the convening officer. Your sentence of 20 years is hereby confirmed by the convening officer, Lieutenant General John Sawe. It was a sad day.
It was.
We have not been given time even to petition the imprisonment, conviction, nothing. The prison are anti. We have to get instructions from the DOD. They were as much frustrated as us. Especially the officer in charge was a gentleman, a Kalenjin, Mr. Chemonges. Immediately, hakuna usaidizi naweza kuwapatia. I've communicated about your rights. But if they are quiet, what do I do?
The signs were tough.
So it was after confirmation, I think it was February 1983, when a few of us, probably around 20, we were again transported to committee. You know, everything is, mnapenda kama wajinga, hata you don't know. And then we arrived at the committee and we found, we were taken to a block. And we found, okay, some of our colleagues from Kingongo and Shimolatewa, now we assembled there. A full block, living with the mad people. It is meant for the people with mental issues. So we don't know even why we are, but again, it was now good, at least now we could share something. And then I was among the past people to be called to what used to be called the duty office. And here I met then a major, Gitiora, the same man that really forced me to sign the needed statement that they used against me. Yeah, he was, and now smiling. He was really smiling and saying, "Oh, we want you to testify, to be a witness against a warrant officer, Philip Ngui Kaputhi." And so I looked at him. The last time I met Kaputhi was 1979, May. No, you know, tukafungusia miaka. I said, no, I can't. My conscience can't allow. Yes. I get my freedom and I put somebody in problem. And Kambia, no, I can't. I mean, are you sure? Oh, yeah. So he was very hostile now. Utakaa hiyo miaka 20.
So what happened that the years were reduced to 10?
Okay, then the sad thing now happened that again, I think it was now sometimes we were taken back to Kisumu. I think around March, after a month, and when they found that nobody was, we all refused to testify against our colleagues. They were released. Yeah.
Wow.
They were released. When we refused to testify against them. Nilipoya sema hatuwezi kuni. Yes. So we were taken back, and the others were taken back to Kingongo and Shimolatewa. We were taken back to Kodiaga, and then we stayed there. And I think around June, those people with more than 10 years, we were transported to Naivasha maximum prison. Yeah. And the same thing was happening. Those who were in Shimolatewa and the Kingongo prison, we were all transferred to Naivasha. Now, that was after. That's what I'm saying. We are not supposed to get justice in Kenya. That was after the period that we were supposed to have petitioned was over.
So there was no chance for you to.
Now that the time was 6 months were over. So is when we were allowed now to communicate officially. Unapatiwa kibarua. I mean, karatasi ambayo iko na kila ya serikali, write to your people. So I wrote work.
Okay.
But even before then, through that askari, when I was in Kisumu, I think we communicated about 3 times. But unfortunately, the askari was found out because he was also helping several of us, especially Kambas. He was a Kamba. And I even think, because there was, they mentioned that no Luo went to Kodiak. It was only Luyas and other tribes were taken to Kodiak, no Luo. I'm very sure other wonders who were the communities there, and they were just doing the same. But this Kamba, particular Kamba, wonder was later sacked, later after I think a year or so. So I communicated to her, but again, the letters got to be read.
So there's no privacy.
So no privacy, and I think she got it in October.
From June.
Yeah. That's when she came. She came to visit me with her friend and her brother. That's after 14 months.
Just sending letters whenever you can.
These are the other ones were just not official. Now that's when I was official. Now supposed to communicate. Yeah.
And so that's where you stayed in Naivasha for the remaining
I stayed in Naivasha from 1983, except for I think 3 months when I went to committee for the appeal. That's how my years were reduced to 10 years. But again, here I've got also an issue with the lawyer. And we had agreed with the lawyer that we were, he was going to, we were appealing against conviction and sentence. And when he came to committee, that's what we agreed. And I told him that I wanted to see what you have done. He never did. He never even came to the court. Instead, he sent Wetangula, who is now the Speaker of the National Assembly. He had appealed against the sentence.
What?
He never appeared. He just
pushed it to someone else.
Yes.
And when it was confirmed that indeed it's been reduced to 10 years, where did you stay?
Again, there's somewhere that I skipped. In 1983, there was a review of the sentences. And again, the review could not reduce my sentence. I was the review. Those who accepted to testify, especially against Ochuka and his team, the sentence is reduced to 2 years.
True.
There was one who was a sentence of 23 years. He and his sentence reduced from 3 years to 2 years. There was one with 18 years to 2 years, 16 to 2 years. Mikando went there and you are 20 years. But I don't regret.
You stood your ground.
Because why really testify against someone to get freedom? It was a matter of conscience.
Yeah.
Yes.
So when you were sentenced, when your sentence was reduced to 10 years, where did you go to?
I was taken back to
Kisumu?
No, to Naivasha.
To Naivasha? That's where you completed the sentence from.
We stayed in Naivasha. That's where I completed my sentence. I was supposed to be released on 28 May, but again, that was on a Sunday, so I was released on a Friday. I got a further
reduced.
Yes. But again, we were meant to stay. I was meant to serve and others the full sentence, except luck came knocking. there was a university student. What I also escaped is that around March, 1983, immediately after the confirmation of the sentence, now the commissioner of prisons came out with another document that they were supposed to sign, that we were not entitled for remission. That decision was overturned because that also applied to the university students who had been imprisoned.
For the same reasons.
Because of the issue of Anka's fast. So I think it's David Olo, Adams Olo, I think it's something like that. He appealed, I think he appealed against that the decision of the Commission of Prisons. And they petitioned in court, and then it was unconstitutional. You could not deny somebody.
Appeal.
Mtu hajafanya makosa na unataka kumnyima remission. So that's how we got our remission. So around 1987, you know, in prison it's like you are a slave. You don't even know the next apart from waking up, kunywa uji, unafunguliwa, it's like a robot. So they started calling people. Wapi wale watu wa Air Force? They started calling names. They disappear, nasikia watu wamekuwa list. Unauliza askari, hatujui. So it was after some days when those who are remaining were called to a documentation office. And they said, oh, you guys, you're lucky. And you have a remission.
Wow.
Your remission has been reinstated. Oh, at least we could smile. So those who are that time, I think those who had after a sentence of 7 years were all released. So tukabaki wale walikuwa over. Yeah, we were. That's how I got my freedom back.
Tell me about the day you got out. What's the first thing or the first person you looked for?
I knew she was
and
coming.
Who was waiting for you outside the prison's gate?
It's not that I thought she would be at the gate. Only kutoka nakuta wamezuiliwa huko at the and again that was very far. We were being escorted by the askaris up to the gate. That's when I found her with my cousin and the wife. Now her cousin, they were waiting for me, and it was hugging and all that. And they took me to an hotel in Naivasha, and I got my first meal in Prindo. It was now really, you could not compare it, even it was like compared to prison a meal that I was used to, which was really like it's something that you can't even feed a pig. So it was my mass meal was in Freedom, was in Naivasha. Then we came home. She was living with her sister at Parklands. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then now life, as they say, the rest became history.
Now we started life again. Yeah.
And we're still waiting for the wedding to this day.
No more talking about it.
All right.
So again, I don't know whether I would just keep in something like I would say we reformed Naivasha. Naivasha prison has a history of deaths. Massacre. It happened in 1972. We never knew about it. We were being told some were maimed. But I think we made some changes, and it became a study prison for all the officers, because there was some peace. There is a school that we started that is going on today.
Wonderful.
And I'm glad as a college being run by GBS, that's now been awarding diplomas for theology. There is one person who was released from prison, is doing medicine. I think he could have finished. We started that school.
That's nice.
And the man that's behind it is Ameru. I salute him. And if you live in you come from Meru, you know what he has done in Kenya, Meru Polytechnic? Is almost self-sustaining. Geoffrey Ukunja, a very intelligent man.
Wow.
If Kiraitu worked with that man, I think, Kiraitu could testify. That's a very intelligent man. He's trained, and also he is a leader. He is the man that I really give him credit for that, not me. He was the force behind it, and we had a very good welfare officer. And it is through that welfare officer we would give him where he could ask, he could write and get some books. Kenya National Library, they gave us some books. There was the American then Cultural Center. Now I think it's now Nairobi, American Research Center. Some other British Council, they gave us. Then I think Undugu Society learned about it. There was Father Arnold Grohl. He died. He passed on. They started bringing us books.
To at least shed light on this whole issue.
There was nothing to read. There was nothing in prison that time. And then we set up a library. And it was not easy. Because it has got to be communicated.
And approved, it's a whole
Yeah. So we started the classes. Tunajua mahali wanaingilia. And some of these people are very intelligent. Some of these, call them criminals, were very intelligent. They were never failing. They were passing very well. Then we started a school of accountants.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm the first Kenyan prisoner who studied accountants and passed a CPA exam.
Wow.
In Kenya. Passed. And others.
Of course.
Yeah.
It's impressive.
Okay. And it was not easy. There were sorts of interruptions, but you just go and plead. It's not it's just diplomacy and this is not your right.
It's like they're doing you a favor, so
yes, and then I think they also the Mzungu, this Father Grohl, I think pia walikuwa na mheshimu. And that's how really I'm glad that here now is going to have school, that is committee and other prisons. It is not Moody Awori that started that. It's only getting according to what in them. But I'm glad to hear now at least they have beds. We used to live on floor, cold floor. And that's how I got asthma. I'm asthmatic. Rheumatoid arthritis. Only one blanket, and unajifunika naye for 6 years and 8 months.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
So looking back and your story with your beautiful wife, what are some of the things you look back at and you're happy she waited, you're happy she was patient with you?
I think her patience is commendable.
Right.
I knew she was a strong woman, but really a threat of 20 years, ana mtoto, and you know that's the goal of every woman.
And the time is
moving.
Yeah.
I think I salute her. Sikupata akiwa na mtoto. I know some people are interested in her, but she never gave in. Yeah, ni wengi walipaa wanaenda wanakuta wako mabibi wako na watoto. Mabibi were not girlfriends. And this thing ruined many families. Many families.
So when she's seated here today, what message would you like her to hear from you today as we are seated here? Leo tutasikia maneno matamu.
Ni ongera tu kama ni Mungu tu.
Ongea tu.
Yes. Sikutarajia kama anaweza kungojea hiyo miaka. Na I never thought ningepata pia akiwa vile alikuwa tu. I've got a friend who was just like myself. He even passed on na hata mwili iko US tu, si kama nyale amezikwa US. Alipata akiwa na watoto kabi Kigo. I think kama alipata two kids.
Kigo alikuwa ameoa.
Kigo.
Kabla jana.
No, alikuwa tu na hiyo girlfriend, yes.
So you guys were locked up together, then you came out and some of your friends' wives had already moved on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know that. Hi.
All right, so we will move to Madame to tell us why she decided to hold on. What is this story we want to hear from her? Please allow Mom, today she'll be in her mask because we're trying to protect her from, interacting with people from outside. She's just going through a medical treatment that has to keep her completely safe from infections. So yes, tell us.
My mind is not like his. He remembers things. I remember very little about that.
Especially the first time you met.
No, that one I'm not going to forget. As he said, he met me in his friends. But the mother of the child was my friend. She was my colleague, and we are from the same area. So we met there. There were many people. After the party, the people dispersed. I don't know what happened. You came back. Me, I was in the house alone. The people were supposed to be there, like the sister to the relative. But I think even most of the people had left. It's like I was the only one in the house. I saw a man come back, and I'm like, and with you, we know with the men, how they start approaching you, even you don't know, you can't even tell. And then kidogo tukaongea, then he went. So she knew if he would get me through that friend of mine. So somehow from them, I can't remember exactly what happened, but we started communicating because like now, already I'm in Uliza, my name, even if you have not told him where I work, he will still know from this lady. That time we were in Jogo, I was working in the government. Me, I was in Jogo, the lady was in Bima. The government had hired some offices in Bima, they had occupied, and then they had a section in Jogo. So I happened to be in that Jogo. So even if you have not invited somebody, see after you later. So that's how life started. We started seeing each other like that. As he told you, I was not very easy, as usual with women. And then tukaendelea tu mpaka hapo tukafika penye tulifika, tukaamua tuende kuona wazazi. We went and saw our parents. So with the Kambas, I don't know, with other tribes. Once you go to visiting, like now, when I took him to home.
To meet your dad and
First it was my mother. My father was in Nyahururu. He met my mother. My mother told him he would communicate because it was just visiting.
Yeah.
He said he was going to. She said she was going to communicate with the husband, and then a day to be set. I mean, she will inform me to tell him when to come and see him. So she had to wait for the husband. When he came, they said, okay, the young man can meet me. I don't know whether we met him. He was not in Nauru, sorry. He was in Nairobi.
Kaloleni.
He was in Nairobi, Kaloleni. And now, I'm telling you some of these things I can't even remember. I don't know whether we went to Kaloleni with him. He can tell you that.
Yeah, we went to Kaloleni with him and our brother-in-law. In fact, a very good man. And I had a sister.
To meet your father-in-law.
Yeah. And then anasema hakuna kitu naweza kuongea na nyinyi, na mletee watu wanaweza kuongea na.
But fortunately enough, my father alimpenda sana.
Wow.
First sight tu hivi. But even his brothers, my father's brothers, were very envious about it. Because from there I started missing my father without me. Unakuta tu wanaongea kama mtoto na kijana wake.
We became friends.
They became good friends. Mpaka brother zake wale wako nyuma yake, because they were old men, but unakuta it's like, hey, what kind of attachment is this? Then kama tu alimuaccept mara moja hiyo. And then when I now he told me now naweza kumpeleka nyumbani, nikampeleka sasa kwa baba nyumbani. Sasa najua si hapa Nairobi, sasa nyumbani. So I met in Nairobi, akamwambia, tunajua they talk, they ask questions. Mnaongea tu general, lakini at the end of the day wataanza kukuuliza, hata kama wanakumbuka uliniambia unaitwa na mtoto ana. Sasa utaenda kutuletea watu wetu, then they tell you the date, then kuja. Walipokuja wakakuta wanajua wazazi wake. Sasa kwake everything was easy, kama chukua. So they were given, you don't just start paying dowry mara moja hiyo. Sasa unasetiwa date, like mtatueleza when to come, this is what we ask for. Kila family wako na kile wanauliza. Lakini my father was a very different man. Alipokuwa nakataa dowries, wanasema yeye ana wasichana wa kuuza.
Wow.
So giving him dowry, ni kama sijui unamwambia nini. But the father was a different man. He was a typical camp. Jona zile ng'ombe na mbuzi zile zilikuja kwetu ni kama we. I kept telling my mother, wewe si unigawie mbuzi hizi na ng'ombe niuze. Si mwanaume amefungwa. Si unigawie niuze, at least ni enjoy. Because sisi tujawahiona hivyo. Me had 2 big sisters married. Na hata sidhani kama walikuwa wamelipiwa dowry, ile dowry, what you can call dowry, up to today walilipiwa tu. Kuna Kambani there is
Ndio.
Yeah, that one. Sasa mkija unapewa, kuna vile mnafuata mbuzi moja, 3, unaweza kuleta 2, utaleta 1 ama 3 ama 5.
Odd numbers.
Odd numbers. And I think wengine walifika tu hapo na ikawa hivyo up to today.
Tell me about the wedding preparations. How had you envisioned your wedding to look? Had you booked, because it was just 5 weeks away, ulikuwa umebook service providers?
We had done most of the things.
E.g.
We had sikuwa tumenunua manguo. Tulikuwa tumeona chaplain. Chaplain ni wajeshi. Already nilikuwa nimesha kansoliwa. Both of us, mimi kivyangu. I mean, kuna ile njia kila kuna bina na kazo dezaleti. Si unajua. Hata kama mna kansoliwa nyote wawili. Ukiwa tu hapo utaambiwa wewe hii na hii usikubaliane naye. So you go through that. So I think we had finished most of the time. We were just waiting for the date.
So including the food and everything you paid for, all those things?
We just prepared.
Okay.
We were prepared.
We were to have a pre-wedding. That Friday, that
before.
Yeah, we had even been allowed by the Air Force, given
the ground.
Because everything was to take place there. So
we had been given the sports pavilion to use as
your grounds for.
So wakuta other than hizo machakula zetu, transport za watu, kama ni the premises we had it in kwa jeshi.
Even the Air Force had also allowed me to use one of their buses
to ferry people.
To ferry people from
So everything was set. So
everything was set.
Wow. So when he went away, how did this make you feel, and what were your next thoughts? You didn't hear from him for all that time before he eventually found a way.
Nauliza msichana wa 23 years. Vitu kama hizo. Hata sikuona kitu.
You were 22 years.
22, 23. Sijui, hebu fanya hesabu 59. Yeah, maybe 59 at that time. Mujue ni miaka ngapi, but I know I was just a naive guy.
Yeah.
So, me when it happened, fact is me woke him up that Sunday. He had just come on Saturday from an exercise zile za jeshi. Na hata sikujua na exercise hiyo haikuwa ishe wakati siku hiyo, ilikuwa ishe that coming week on a Thursday, si ndio? Mimi kitu moja, I believed in prayer sana na sijui dakika hizo nilikuwa kwa I think imani ni kitu ya maana sana, na nakwambia take it from me, hiyo kitu haiko nisumbua. My comfort was that Bible, that book called Bible. Ndio ilinisimamia. Na mimi sikutaka hata kushinda ukinisumbua na hizo maswali ya nini sasa. Kwa sababu mimi sikuwa naona kuna jambo.
Na mind yako uko ushamika mind yako.
Hata ni kama tu mtu alienda safari. Kama wale wanaenda ng'ambo. Sijui huyo wangu nilipanga alienda ng'ambo. Ama nilipanga alienda wapi. Lakini haikunisumbua.
Wow.
Yes.
Na ile siku ambayo ulimuona mara ya kwanza after hiyo struggle yote ku communicate through letters. So the day he was released, his first day of freedom after 10 years.
We used to visit.
You used to visit him.
Yeah, really, I don't know at what point. Which year is what? I don't have that memory sometimes.
It was in 83. They came around, I think October or November. They allowed, I think after some months, wakasimamisha, we could not be visited. It used to be on and off.
Oh, but at least you could see each other from time to time.
So at least other means I could also write.
Sasa when wakati sasa amefungwa vizuri sasa.
Ndio at least ungepata.
Ndio sasa naye akapata pia askari mwingine sasa Naivasha kutoka na neighboring village yao. And then it was also good to him. He was mtu mzima. And angenitumia angetuma barua through him. Sasa.
Wow. So that kept you at least.
There's no enough medicine in prison. So it's from the same askari that I would get
some medication
from her. And also our brother-in-law is a doctor.
Alikuja kidogo akaongea na wao, ikawa sasa kwetu ni rahisi. Kwa hivyo akiwa anaumwa na anataka nini, he would write, and then I would tell my brother-in-law, ana prescribe medicine, napeleka siku ya visiting. Just don't go like that. Na tena tulikuwa na visit every month. Na when they started, tulikuwa tuna visit working days. Sasa hiyo ndio ilikuwa shida kwangu.
Kupewa ruhusa.
Unajua sasa nyakati zile ni zile tulikuwa tuna kama tuna bud bosses. And then ukienda kumwambia kitu unataka permission, anataka kujua details. Na hata ukimwambia ukweli hata kuongelesha vibaya. Na mimi sitaki kwenda kuomba ruhusa nikisema sikutaka. Many people never knew that I was even engaged to anybody, or my husband to be was in prison. So na mimi sitaki kusema. Unaona? Sasa unakuta mtakusana na boss kwa sababu atataka kukunyima. Nyakati hizo walikuwa natunyima tu ruhusa.
For just like
wanakwambia uko na weekend na wewe una sababu ya kuenda. Na mimi nilikuwa natapenda kwenda Friday. Ndipo nikuwe na long weekend. Kwa sababu wakati huo when it happened, it's like I found comfort in my mother. So I found myself going home almost every Saturday. Wetu nimezaliwa Makueni. That time we did have a good road, because road yetu ni traveled same moja to from Machakos. It wasn't very good, and especially during rain season. I remember there's a time I went and I got home at midnight. No. Na si kukuwa na nduthi, kukuwa na nini, lazima nipete kwa majirani wanisindikishe, bali nipatiwe wa vijana wanisindikishe mpaka kwa mamangu. So I found myself wanting to just to be around my mother.
At least your family, supported you even as you were going through all this.
They did.
That's good.
They did. And especially my dad. My
also,
dad.
And also the grandmother.
And my grandmother was my sweetheart. So ningeenda pale ananiambia mambo matamu. She would encourage me. So I found things easy. Na nimekwambia all along. Hiyo kitu haikuniuma, hata haikunisumbua hata kidogo. Mimi nilikuwa tunangojea siku ya kwenda visiting, and there's this cousin of mine. Huyo nimesikia akisema ameolewa na cousin yake, sasa mdogo wake, sasa tuligrow pamoja. Na koni mbali na kwetu mbali, lakini kwa sababu tuko Nairobi. Sasa tukawa sasa most of the time sasa watu tukaanza kwenda, yeye ndio nilikuwa naenda naye. Alikuwa anakuja kwa nyumba, and then tunalala, life kesho yake tunaanza safari. And then there was also this other lady we teamed up, who had a young brother. She was working in the bank. So tukateam up, so wakati tunini at least utaenda peke yako, unajapata uko na company.
Hiyo siku yenye ulimuona mara ya kwanza, how was it for you?
Nilipomuona I felt very bad. Because that is the only time now it touched me, and I think I cried. Because mkifika mnaandikisha, and then mnakaa muda mrefu kitabu muingie ndani. Msa mkisha ingia ndani, sasa you hate everything on earth. Ako pandile, kuna kioo hapa, mnikuonana tu through the mirror. Ile tu vitu ya mzungu. And then kuna simu pande. Kama ndipo kama ni kama boss. Watu sasa you can get there tuseme unakuta you are not the only one who is visiting a person. Sasa mlikuwa mnaingia like three booths. Sasa mnaingia. Yeye wao wote kila mtu ako na simu yake. Kama tu zile za both hivi. Yeye anachukua yake na mimi nachukua yangu, and then tunaongea. And then kuna soja pale. Na hata nilikuwa it's like nimwangalie tu na niende. It was very frustrating.
But talk to me about the day he was released and you had to come and bring him home finally.
Since I knew he was coming, there wasn't much. I was used to life. So mimi sikuona utofauti sana, ni vile tu at least I'm going to be with him. So tukaenda tukamchukua, as you heard him say, we came. Nita sijatafuta nyumba kwanza. Sitaki kujua. Kaenda tukaishi. So tukaanza kuishi tu.
How long have you been married? How long have you been together since the time of engagement? Because even after he went away, you are still someone's wife. Almost 35 years.
That's 40,
85, 42 years.
Yeah, for 2 years.
Wow. What has kept you together as we wind up? Lessons learned. What has kept you together all this time?
Kitu cha kwanza in marriage. Wachani na mambo mnaita love, sijui hiyo ndio nini. Kitu cha kwanza lazima mwe marafiki. If you are not you are friends with your husband, I don't think you can go far. I don't think you can go far. Lazima kuwe na hiyo kitabu hiyo malavu mnaita love hiyo, because I don't know what it is. Yeah, lazima mwe marafiki.
Friends.
Of course, friends don't want to hit at each other. Na lazima wewe unajua sababu gani umeenda kwa ndoa. Ndoa inahitaji uvumilivu. Si ati kwa ndoa mtakosana. Definitely mtakosana. Lakini hamtakosana kiasi ile ya wale watu wajui kile wanafanya kwa ndoa. Lazima uwe sober to start with, mwanamke. You know what you want in marriage. You have respect. Kwa sababu mwanamke can never be head of the home. Lazima usikize bwanako. Ninyi marika wa siku hizi unaongeleshwa na unaongea. If you are not a good listener. Sasa unaongeleshwa na wewe unaongea. Na unaongea na sauti ya juu. Na kuna kila kitu bwanako ameshaona haimpendezi. Fine. To you it might not be very important, but listen. But at the end of the day, muweze utafute tu nafasi, hata kama unasikia haifai, mwambie uliniambia kitu fulani. Na sasa sioni hivyo na unampatia your own reason. You might also see reasons. But if you don't reason with your husband, you don't want to understand each other. Then amuko wawezi kusema amuko marafiki. Mimi naona friendship
comes first.
Na huo na communication,
friendship.
Na mwe pia mnaweza in case kwa kila jambo lazima you can come together and make decisions because it's your home. Wewe si atu ufanye mambo zako pande na mwingine pande. Na wanawake si hata nyinyi, hata wanawake, hata watu wazima kuliko mimi na mimi. Kuna wale watu wanapenda kuficha vitu havina maana. Unamficha vitu, unakuta uko na kaploti kako mahali bwanako ajue. Uko na baga hata kama iko na milioni ngapi, tell him this is my account and there's this money. Hiyo pesa si ni zako. You won't go getting your money by force, because I know she is not every man who is perfect. Kuna watu wengine who are users, they want to use their wives or their girlfriends. But you reason out, you make decisions. Mnapeana nafasi, mnazungumza, lakini si kupuuza, you know. Na mashida zikianza kuingia sasa, for one, kama you don't have time for the other person, You want to do your things. Ati nataka kuwa na wale mabeshte wako. You go hanging around. Ati sijui mnaenda wapi.
Wow.
You don't give your husband even. You don't even want him to know. Ule mnaenda. Si umwambie bwanako akisema no, kai. Lakini nyinyi siku hizi hamtaki kuambiwa. Na then unakuta that mko na lifestyle ingine. Ati kwa sababu mmesoma. Marriage haina masomo.
Unaacha hapo kwa mlango kiingia.
Hata utakuta wakati kwenu huyu ameaga. Bwanake wakati alikuweko uhai. Lazima alikuwa anamhudumia.
And how start with the reason why this was important for you to share your story with the media?
It's because medication is very important. She's now could be on medication for the rest of her life. She can't skip. Skipping you, I mean, outright rejection of the kidney.
She had a kidney transplant.
Yes, she had a kidney transplant at Meldale Hospital. That's in Doret. But the reviews are being done. They have a branch in opposite Aga Khan Hospital. They have a very big complex there. We have to go periodically. Because we were supposed to have an appointment on 2nd of this month. We don't have any money. Now we have it scheduled for this Friday.
Okay. You were telling me about the cost of the medication.
Yes, we are saying that it was very expensive. Now it's coming down, plus the tests. It's now going to about 45,000 shillings per month.
Per month.
Again, the test is a little bit tricky because now they might find something that is not right. Like now we are going monthly. We used to go fortnightly. They might decide, okay, come next week for another test. Because if there is something that is not really, either the drugs are not working as they want, the test might be repeated. Now it becomes a little bit tricky. It's very expensive. Because if the doctor says, I'm not happy with this can it be repeated, you know? They're not going to do it freely.
Of course.
It's not another expense.
How about your treatment as well?
I really, should I say I've stopped? I only get the medicines because, first of all, asthma is a very complicated. Up to now, they have not identified what type of asthma that, because we can't afford those costs. So is the arthritis. They say there is quite a lot of it. We can't afford really those tests so that they can really identify exactly what proper medication that they're going to give to me. For now, for the knee and the hip, I've got if you want to see the X-rays, they say there's a need for a knee replacement because the arthritis has really imekula kabisa, and also the knee. They has got to do some corrective surgery.
That's why this was important.
That's why it's very important. Either if I regain my mobility, utakuta kuku hapa. Right now, nikiweka really,
you can't take care of it.
I can't. It's only that your therapy, you need a very young man. And I can be able to move around.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, thank you for opening up to us. I know it's difficult to even come to a point.
It's not very easy to beg, but I'm begging. Since I left prison, I've really tried to work and see we are okay. Like now, it's very painful for me. When my sons can't complete their university education, they have dropped out. It's one of the most challenging things. Very painful.
I'm so sorry.
Very painful. Very intelligent voice. What do I do? We don't have funds to really get them started on something. Hakuna kitu. And the main point for paying is that we are suffering because government could not do what they were supposed to have done.
So sorry about that. And
My conduct and the way I lived in the military is a testimony. 9 years not being even admonished for anything, leave alone being punished.
so for Kenyan who want to help you, how can they reach you?
We have a pay bill number.
Okay.
It is in the name.
Okay.
We are paying some people. There's a lady who calls the day, she would prepare the account number. We have an account with the family bank. Yeah, but the account number, the bill now, which we can share with you. It's also it was in the Nation newspaper.
Okay.
Yes.
Would you like to share your phone number as well?
I think because mine is a Airtel number. Is
It's okay.
nitapeana yangu ni 0736 280 303. Ours is 0725 21 25 1144.
Say hers again.
And 0721 25 1144.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Kenyans. You have heard the story of Mr. and Mrs. David, and they're here appealing to you to kindly come through for them. We'll share the pay bill number where you can at least support them, get treatments, and get them back on their feet. As usual, we thank you always for coming through for our guests and supporting them. And here we are again appealing to you to kindly support them. Thank you so much for watching this show till the end. My name is Yvonne Kawera. Till next time, keep it to go.